Hey everybody, it's the Zen Witch here in my jammies with my coffee. Um, just to give you an update, as you probably noticed if you're a subscriber, there was no unboxing video this morning, and that's because my motherboard died on Christmas Eve. I have news that it's getting fixed this week. And so my plan is that on Friday I will drop 2 videos, so you still get your 2 a week. I'll drop an Oracle and a Tarot unboxing video on Friday, but I wanted you to have something today since that's what you're used to. So I thought I'd just talk a little bit about magic and what makes magic work. And I talk, you know, I say a lot of things about this in other videos, but I wanted to specifically just talk about magic and how it works. And the main thing here is that I want to separate magical thinking from real magic. And magical thinking is what 5 and 6 year olds do. It's a stage of development where they are very egocentric. And the brain says, the sun came up today because I woke up. Okay, everything is egocentrically connected. And this is where the step on a crack and break your mother's back comes from. It's this magical thinking of, if I do this thing, something completely unrelated will happen. So it's kind of an expression of the synchronicity principle, that things can kind of happen concurrently that aren't really physically related. But it does stem from this egocentric brain development stage of 5 6 years, 5 to 7, something like that. And those of you who have kids, watch this happen. Like when they are a toddler and into 4 and 5 years old, there's still a connection to greater things. There's still, I feel like, kids at that age sort of still have one foot on the other side. And then around 6 years old, they kind of fully land. They become more fully present here on Earth. And just as a side note, around 4 or 5 is and even younger is typically when parents might start to hear some past life memories coming out of kids, saying, "Oh, I used to be your mother," or "We used to be, do you remember when you were my," just interesting things like that. There's a fascinating show on Prime called The Ghost Inside My Child that's really fascinating stuff. At any rate, the whole magical thinking thing does extend into adulthood when you start talking about actual magic, when you start talking about magical practice, magical philosophy, or spirituality. And it's, you'll hear me talk about dogma and superstition and how allergic I am to those things. And those things really are rooted in magical thinking. The thinking that if I just say these words in this way, I'm going to alter reality, external reality. And that assumes a power that just really isn't there. So how does magic work? Because I'm here to say that, spell work and real magic is real. It does work. But the difference is that superstition and magical thinking places things outside of yourself. It's just kind of like arbitrarily, if I utter these words, something's going to change, and it's because of the way things are built out there. It's the way things are structured. But real magic is internalized. And real magic begins to happen. And I'll just relate to my journey. I remember saying to one of my granny witches, one of my mentor witches, that I just don't think it's possible to affect somebody else with your magic. And she looked at me with like this look of horror. I think she may have actually had her hand in front of of her mouth. But, and then I learned very quickly that it is absolutely possible to affect someone outside of yourself with spell work and magic. And um, so, the first thing I want to say here is that magic is physical. It is physical. It adheres to the laws of physics. So, physical meaning your physical body, but also physics. Magic does not, nothing in the universe operates outside of universal law and outside of physics. And the laws of physics are universal laws. We don't know all of them yet by a long stretch. By a long stretch. Quantum physics has started scratching the surface. But then I was reading something the other day that says anybody that says that they understand quantum physics is lying, even quantum physicists. So, the universe is a mysterious and miraculous and magical place, and it can only behave according to its own laws. We don't understand those laws yet. But for me personally, I don't have to know how my car works to drive the car. I don't have to know how quantum physics works to use magic and to know that it works and to witness it in action. But over the years, I've had many students and I've done not many initiations, but, a good number of initiations. I learned early on that I need to be I have a certain criterion that needs to happen before I will even consider initiating someone. And I'm not going to say what that is. So, because there's a karmic relationship you set up when you perform an initiation. And I'm not the one that initiates, the goddess initiates. I just perform the ceremony. But doing that puts us into karmic relationship for a period of time. And that's heavy. That's weighty. It's really weighty. And I have too often seen how wildly misinterpreted teachings can be running through somebody's filters. So I take great care and caution when I'm approaching initiation stuff. But, what I've witnessed is I put teachings out, and some people absorb them, some people don't. And absorb is actually a good word. I'm glad that word came into my head because it's about internalizing. So, for instance, the most basic teachings, and you can see this in my series on the art of ritual, which I'm getting ready to really start adding to and expanding to that series. But the most basic of teachings is the elemental wheel. The first thing I do is give you a framework on which to hang your understanding of the universe. And it is full. I have fully internalized it. Everything I do, whether it's a project, magic, when I'm looking at structuring a class or, whatever, I go through the elemental wheel and I pull in, all these different parts. The air being the intellect, the fire being your will, the water being your emotions, and the earth being your physical body, and then spirit is the hub that they all spin around. And I could not do magic without internalizing it. So you hear me say many times sorry, I got a lot of gunk. I'm eating a lot of bad things over the holidays. Delicious and harmful things. Anyway, you will hear me say over and over again that you don't need these external tools, and a thumb and a wand and a this and a that and a smudge pot and a you don't need those things to perform magic. All you need is what you have here. But there's a qualifier, there's a caveat. Just this won't do you any good unless you have internalized what those other things symbolize, unless you have, it's already inside, but unless you have internalized the connection between my intellect and the air, between my will and the fire, the archetypal fire. my spirit and spirit. Unless you have realized those connections, unless you've plugged in all your little cords, um, your magic is still going to be externally based. And it's not to say that you can't do a spell you can't read somewhere and somebody says, do this spell, gather these things, and, do these steps and say these words, and this will happen. A well-crafted spell is going to take you through necessary steps for magic to work. And I realize that when I stop and it's like it's time to do a spell and I just stop and do it, I am doing it from a place of having internalized all these things and having practiced ritual for so many years that the 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 space of the center of the circle, and I don't just mean the physical space, I mean the head space, the emotional space, the state of being. When I'm in ritual and I'm fully there, I am in a certain state of integrated mind, emotion, will, body, spirit. I'm in a state of being that is very familiar to me, and by now it is second nature to me. So it doesn't take much for me to go, I need to be here now and take myself there. There are times in life when you arrive at those states kind of haphazardly, where, something maybe, Pema Chodron would say, when life nails you, you can be nailed by beauty, you can be nailed by grief, you can be shocked by, a crisis into that state where suddenly you're all present, every part of you is present. Trauma can do that to you, and that's not, you're in that fully present state, but it's not optimal because it's traumatic. But let's say you go to the mountains for the first time, or you witness the Continental Divide, coming up over, can't remember the highway in Colorado, might be 75 something, but you're coming up over, and all of a sudden there's the Continental Divide before you, and I've never seen the Grand Canyon, but I imagine that's one of them. Seeing the ocean, the redwood forests, everybody has that setting in that place where suddenly your brain is stopped and everything is there. That can be just a haphazard event where suddenly life plunks you into this timeless time. And when I do ritual, part of the casting is declaring that this is a time that is no time and a place that is no place, removing this place from the mundane. And the intent is to drop those gates and open those doors, and at the same time set that boundary so it's safe. And here we are, full, everything is on full, my mind, every part of me is there, integrated and together and on high alert. So you can have those moments sort of thrust upon you, and know what that experience feels like, but it's not going to really become your own as a usable thing, as a usable state, as a powerful state, powerfully usable, until you practice it and you step in. And the same goes with meditation. From the time we're born, we learn going through life how the stress response, and we are living in a most unnatural state for any animal, with how we're bombarded all day long with messages and lights and sounds and electrical fields and all kinds of shit. This is not a natural state for animals to live in. And so in this bombardment, we learn how to respond with avoidance and with stress, with tension, so we get trained into tension. And we have to retrain ourselves into a relaxation response. And it can happen again at odd times. Suddenly, life is relaxing and I can exhale. Or we can really become more powerful and practice it every day. Do daily meditation. I have a video that I put up about all kinds of sources to help you meditate easily, to help you achieve the state and practice. When you practice, it becomes yours. You internalize. Okay, so this is the whole point here, is about practicing in order to internalize. When I practice in ritual and I practice connecting with these parts and these symbols and these archetypes, then they become my own. And then when I perform magic, I know where it's coming from. And I also have the skill to generate the energy necessary to perform magic. And let's say, first of all, that we don't generate the energy from ourselves. So the first part of it is plugging into the source, grounding, plugging into the earth, so that I can move earth energy through my body. I can maximize it. I can expand it. I can heighten it. I can intensify it. And then with my intellect, I can frame it. I can make the details of it. I can visualize it. That's a fire thing, visualizing. And apply my will to it. And put the emotional energy in. That's the water. And then I can release it. I can let it go and allow it to manifest. That's the earth. Okay? So we work through the wheel and the elements with magic. But if you haven't practiced and if you haven't internalized those archetypes and those elements, your magic is going to be weaker. So as you start to practice, you'll be able to get, it'll take longer in the beginning, and you'll have to go through all the steps of ritual, which are glorious, wonderful, delicious, beautiful steps. It's like performance art to me. And those first rituals, when I first was learning the elements and everything, are just, they still like ring in my memory. That first ritual where it took me all day just to set my elemental altars are delicious. And when you do ritual and your mind is on high alert and all the parts of your mind are on alert and integrated together, what you're actually doing is programming. You're programming your brain with these things. You are making connections. You are causing synapses to fire, and you are forging connections in your brain. This is physics. This is brain science. And once you forge those connections each time, it's easier and easier and easier. So, more is the pity, but now I rarely do like full ritual where I cast a circle and call the elements. And, I go in and just sort of stand in front of my altar, and mentally it all gets created. I cast the circle. I put everything, it's very deep internal work now. And, I'm sort of missing the full ritual, but every once in a while, like on Samhain, on Beltane, the big energy times, I will set aside time, do a circle. Sometimes it's impromptu too. Sometimes I find myself like, ooh, everybody's out of the house. I'm here alone. I have clear psychic space, and suddenly I'll just like pull the tools together and just, whip out my thami and do a ritual. But like I said, it doesn't take much preparation now. I can just whip it out, as it were. But the point here is that magic is real. Magic takes effort. Magic takes practice. Magic lives inside. Okay? And, my mind wants 5 because I think in pentagrams. I guess the 5 is, you can do it. The 5 is, try it, I will also tell you that I have very specific disclaimers that I put on any spell work that I do, because magic is real, because you can affect other people. So, more rules. Number one, the only person you have business doing magic on is yourself. Thank you very much. The people around you will be affected by it because they're affected by your presence. And, one of the lessons I learned is I did a spell on myself for making money, but as I was visualizing, I saw my family suddenly popped up and the boyfriend I was seeing at the time, and we were all holding hands in a circle. And within a few days, the boyfriend was saying to me, I don't know what's going on, but I've got all these job offers and everything. Well, he and I were rubbing auras, bumping auras, bumping electromagnetic fields a lot. We were in each other's physical presence a lot. When you alter your mindset and you do magic, you are literally altering your electromagnetic field. Okay? All of reality, all of everything is energy and information. Energy and matter are the same thing. It's just a matter of density. Okay? So when you alter your electromagnetic field, and it's kind of like taking a magnet and rubbing it on a needle, and that needle becomes magnetized. You do that with the people that you're physically close to, that you bump auras with all the time. So, I think I sidetracked myself. Anyhow, what you will find out. So, the disclaimers. That's what I was talking about. So my magical disclaimers are, may this, affect me in the most positive ways. May this be for the highest good of all concerned, the highest good of anyone that it may affect. And I always ask my guides. And, the magic I do now, I stay in my lane because I know what's possible. But I will also ask my guides if there is a reason, if I am stepping over a boundary here, if there is a reason that this should not be done, please stop me. Please get in the way. And I trust them. I trust them, implicitly and explicitly. I ask them to get in the way of things that, if my human brain, if my ego is in the way in some way, that this could bring harm in any way, then please get in the way of it for me. So, yeah, I'm here to keep it clean. So anyway, I just wanted to give you that and encourage you to practice your magic. I will be, like I said, dropping 2 new videos on Friday, and content will keep on coming. I'm going to, January is going to be a big push here. I'm going to be putting out lots and lots and lots of content for you all. And please subscribe if you have not yet. Please like my videos. Please share. Please share, because I'm looking for my people. The wonderful, wonderful thing about YouTube is that I know I can be an acquired taste. And I love that I'm out here. I don't give a shit about pleasing everybody. I will not please everybody. I know people have very strong reactions to me one way or the other. That's the Scorpio rising and the focalized Pluto. People are polarized. You either like me or you hate me. But I don't care, because what I'm looking for is my people. I'm not looking to please everybody. I'm looking for my people. So if you know people that might be entertained by what I'm doing here, please share with them. One of the things I'm going to be doing is putting up some guided meditations. So I will teach you how to do my fully grounding meditation. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you're looking forward to it too. Happy New Year, because I won't be talking to you again until Friday. We turn the decade. The turning of the decade. Holy shit. Maybe I will post a video on the new year. At any rate, this has been the Zen Witch. I hope you've found this instructive. I will be talking to you soon. Thanks for sticking around. Blessed be.